Exciting one. That was a great
Yeah.
game. Incredible win. What you went into this game with and what you ended up playing with in terms of a rotation there. Improbable win. It felt like two guys in Shvee and Banton who effectively haven't played real minutes all year played winning stretches in this game, and not to mention Al Horford stepping in and playing probably the critical minutes in the game with 4 blocks and 4 threes. So your depth shined in this game. And how many shows, how many segments have we done?
5 blocks, my man. Don't short him.
Oh, they threw in the 5th. They didn't count that one originally. So that's exciting.
Oh, wow.
One of my box scores has it, so maybe
I counted it too. He had that block on Covington late.
We all saw it. Yeah, we'll give it to him on the show. How about that?
Yeah,
that's our own stats here.
That's a Garden report.
What are stats, anyways? Like we watched the game. We can call it a block.
I saw what happened.
So yeah. I know what everyone's expecting me to do. After the game, Horford had and Drew's effectiveness off the bench, which
agenda watch.
Which might have been the story of this game. Yeah, Drew driving those winning bench units. Second game in a row, I think you won the non-Tatum minutes. Do you start Horford and do you move Drew to that bench? I'm not there yet, but it gave you an intriguing look at doing something like that, right? Because I think Horford fits in much better with the starters.
Stop.
What do you mean you're not there yet? You were there yet before game 1. You were there yet before game 1.
You've been there. You had no choice. You had no choice but to pretend you were no longer there. And now it's, ha-ha, I've been here all along.
No, I'm not going there.
He's not there, but he was there, but he's not.
No, but you are going there. You are a little bit.
You just went there.
Well, it's worth talking about, isn't it?
No, it isn't.
You just saw Horford play his best game all year by far in the starting lineup.
So this one game versus the other 9 when the starting lineup has been ridiculously
That's why I'm not going
good.
There. But
you are.
We just talked last game. We just talked last game. You're not getting much anything from Horford off the bench. And Drew can clearly not only facilitate, but score on the ball, be aggressive in that second unit. Maybe in certain matchups, because again, we opened this year.
You have to understand that. I mean, again, if you're going to do it, obviously it's going to be White, right? Like if you went double big, it's. I just don't know why you're saying Drew. It's clearly
because he can drive that second unit.
No chance.
I don't think there's any chance because of how good that unit's been. But it was an interesting look at doing something like that if you really needed to. Not to mention the better defense you got in Embiid.
Thank you, Classic Dave. That's $65 right there, American dollars.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Split 3 ways. Bobby just snuck in for that one.
Bobby just got in under the gun. If you were here 2 minutes later, that would have been ours.
Just me and Jimmy. You know what? He gets to split that with us, and all he's talked about is benching Drew Holiday. That doesn't seem right.
It's obviously Jalen to the bench, right?
Is that what you open with?
We didn't say it.
I haven't said it. People are trying to goad me into saying it, just like they're trying to goad Jimmy into saying that he hates women.
Whoa. Nobody's trying to goad me into saying.
Let me ask you this, John.
If they are, they will be mistaken.
Let me ask you this, John. If this is round 1 or round 2, whatever, who are you starting in those games?
I will
starting lineup.
I will concede that you have to consider. I will concede that you have to consider Al against Embiid, but then I'd still stay with the rotation and move Porzingis to the bench. And stay.
You move Porzingis.
Yeah. Against this team, I would. Yes, I don't want to play double big against this team. I definitely don't want to. I do not want to play double big against this team. I really don't.
He's so important to the starters too.
He is. So that's why we should stop saying stupid shit. Like, just leave the starting lineup together.
I am. I'm just bringing up an idea.
Porzingis did struggle against the Sixers.
This is my final offer right here. Thank you, Darwin. It's my final offer.
And
it is interesting.
Take it or leave it.
So
then on the bench, Jalen gets to do whatever he wants with that second unit.
You know what I also
fire away.
I also think that there's something personal to this matchup with Al too. I'm not saying he doesn't,
he turned to the crowd after that last 3.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. They drug him through the mud up there in Philly. They basically tossed him to the wall. They pretty much said he was out of the league. and then he's had a whole, revival of his career. And I think when it comes to especially playing in Philly, there's a little extra fire there. So if that's the case, I'm with you, Bobby. Start Al Horford if it's against Philly. Other than that, though, I still think that he's going to be effective off the bench for you. It's an adjustment for sure. But you want this guy to be healthy. You want him to be able to play like he did tonight. And if he's starting, 70 games or whatever it is, 65, 60 games, I don't know if you're going to get the same Al in the playoffs. You might get somebody who's 80% as opposed to 95%.
So was this a product, John, of him coming off the bench for all those games, playing those limited minutes, and then having to turn up to playoff Al in this game? That could be true.
I think there's something wrong with I think Joe's still figuring out what he's doing with that second unit and how to mix and match. We saw him mess around last game, Bobby. As we said, he switched the Holiday and White minutes. And so that was a little bit of a change. I think he's trying different combinations. Whatever it's worked, it hasn't been good. Al is kind of if you look at like 3 and 4 man lineups, he's in some of the ugliest ones out there. So it's all not working, the combination of whatever is out there at that time. So yeah, he's definitely hurt a little bit by being on the bench, but also if he goes out there and he doesn't have a good shooting night with those starters, it does stunt what the offense has been able to do, playing 5 out with everybody being able to shoot the way they have. And so that's the thing, is like Al Horford knocking down 3-point shots, absolutely. But like anything short of having somebody where his defensive prowess is absolutely necessary, and really there's like two of those guys in the NBA. You want him against Jokic, you want him against Embiid. Everything else, I'm not sacrificing defense for offense, and I'm leaving Porzingis in there. But you can make arguments that you need him for matchups like that.
Well, we started the year saying maybe they're going to mix and match and go with lineup by committee, and they haven't done that, and I understand why. I mean, I'd still go back next game to that same starting lineup that they've been using. But it was nice seeing what Horford's capable of with the starters out there. And again, I'll say this, just as important as that, Drew helped the bench immensely. You won those non-Tatum minutes in a night where you didn't have Brown, which is just incredible. You were winning.
Why do you hate Drew Holiday?
It's not about hating. He played great in that role, and they need someone to drive those minutes.
But you wanted him there before you knew if he played well in that role. You just want him. You want him on the bench.
He wants to
There's
be
nothing
right.
wrong with
John,
being on the bench. Brogdon was on the bench last year.
But Holiday is 10 times the player Brogdon is. Yeah, he's a top 30 player in the NBA. I mean, he can do literally everything. I mean, he's just such a good basketball player. How many times were you like, Brogdon's defense is killing him?
I just Brogdon don't know.
Brogdon suits you for the bench because he's, microwave, like offense, like instant offense. He can just get hot. He can go to the basket. He was shooting threes at a high clip, and he was your second unit offense along with whatever Jay, you staggered those bench minutes with. But they needed that because outside of the Jays the year before, they didn't have anybody else who can create their own shot. They got plenty of guys who can do it. It's not just Holiday. White can create his own shots. Porzingis is instant offense. So anybody you put in there in that second unit, along with a Jay, you're going to be fine. So I don't think it makes the bench better. That's all I'm saying.
Listen, I don't even want to have this convo anymore.
Tonight,
I will say they're 9-2. You don't make change your starting lineup if you don't have to.
FanDuel is the exclusive wagering partner of the CLNS Media Network. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL.
We've been talking a lot about Al. We're going to hear Joe Mazzulla right now talking about just kind of how this Al performance made him feel. It made him feel very warm and fuzzy.
The most inspiring thing for me as a coach is to watch him. And why? I mean, he's Al. Like, one, he's 2 years older than me, so I get to coach a guy that's older than me. That's fun. Secondly, he's one of the most selfless, humble people that you have, and literally he will do anything to win. And, we can't do what we do as a team if you don't have a guy like that at the top.
What's up, fellas? How we doing?
Hey, good God. It took a second.
Speaking of Latinos, right? That's a great intro. Speaking of
Oh,
lucky,
sure, yeah, I wasn't thinking that, but yeah, no.
Yeah, you were.
Oh, you forget that about Al, huh? No,
Latino Heat.
what a performance, man! Especially to hear what Joe Mazzulla had to say. There's this team's culture. It doesn't exist without a guy like Al, and I tend to agree with that. I mean, obviously, the core, or at least the guys who've been here the longest, remember, Al's always been like this, right? In terms of setting the right example and doing what's best for the team. It's funny coming into this game. Bobby was like, "Man, you think Al's gonna be like, man, this is a game that I have to start, or do you think this is gonna make him want to start after the fact, given how well he played?" But I'm like, no, I don't think so, because Al's the type of guy that he's gonna do what's best for the team. And like Jimmy just said a little while ago, they're 9-2, best record in the East. Like these spot starts, this is the type of energy or type of performance you can come to expect from Al, if you ask me. I think he's at that point of his career where he's going to be efficient. He's not going to chuck shots. He's going to make those huge defensive stops, when it matters the most. And he's a guy that can still, Joe Mazzulla can still turn to at the end of games, right? So it isn't one of those situations where it's like he's unplayable at the end of games, or that you have to put in Porzingis. I mean, he's still capable of obviously closing out a game for you, especially when you need that extra muscle on the defensive end of the floor. It was a heck of a game for him, man, and I'm really happy for Al, because I don't think he's a kind of player that was discouraged by the first 9 games or 10 games of the season, or the way or his numbers. But I just think coming in here and doing what he did on the national stage, and especially against this team, it does matter a lot to him.
Facts, my dog.
He even got a chance to shut up this particular section. He says always gives him crap whenever he comes here. So when he made that final
that's what it
three-pointer,
was?
yeah,
That's
I thought it was
insight.
to Embiid. I thought he was talking to Embiid, but no, it was. He says every single time they stay in that corner and they just talk trash all game. So it was the perfect spot, as he said it, for him to let that thing fly and drain it, sort of almost a dagger.
Remember it got personal in the Atlanta series? I think it was the Hawks series. Someone was talking.
That got personal against Duke. Castiglione is who it got personal against.
Yeah, it
in
did.
this building.
Oh my God. I forgot about that. That was the best little like.
I think he's afraid to come back. I don't know if we'll see Duke Castiglione this year.
He goes, Al and Duke was a good feud. I don't remember anything with the fans.